Hey Miss P, this is Sarah. We're going to be doing some manual muscle testing today. This is David, my brother. He's going to be helping me out. We're going to start with knee flexion. We're going to start grade 5, so he'll be prone. And I'm going to go ahead and walk through it. All right? Okay, go ahead and lay on your stomach with your head facing. So, we're going to be testing the muscles of your hamstrings. Okay, do you know what those are? Yeah, okay. We're going to be testing those today. And like I said, we are starting with grade 5. Okay, so for grade 5, you feel okay there?
Uh-huh.
You don't feel any strain in your back or anything?
No.
Okay. Alrighty, so what I'm going to have you do is we're going to test your left. We're going to test, in a real life situation, we would test both. But like just to see what the difference is between the two. But for this one, we're just going to test this one.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is I want you to bend your knee until your leg is at a 45-degree angle. So you're going to be about right here, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead and sit down for me and relax. So this first thing that I'm going to have you do is I'm just checking your range of motion. Okay, so I'm going to have you go ahead and go through full range of motion. Try to kick your bottom with your heel, okay? Go ahead. Good. Relax. I'm going to do it one more time. All right, go ahead. Good, and he makes it through full range of motion, so I don't know if you can see that. All right, David, go ahead and do it again. So here he makes it through full range of motion. I'm going to go ahead and test him at a 5 first because I think that he can hold me at max resistance. Okay. So, Dave, I'm going to have you hold your leg at 45 degrees. And I'm going to hold at 2 different places, okay? So I'm going to hold here. And then I'm going to push down on your ankle. And I want you to try to hold against me, okay? Don't let me push down. You ready?
Yep.
Good. Relax. I would actually grade that a 4+ because he did shake a little bit against me. But that would test. We tested 3. I graded him the 4+, and he obviously didn't make it to a 5, so we would do that position for grades 3 through 5. I'm going to test him in grade 2 now, so I'm going to have him go ahead and flip over onto his side with his back facing me. In a real live situation, I would have him flip to the other side because I want to be testing the same leg. But let me adjust this. But just for practice sake, I'm gonna test his right instead. So I would ask him to scoot to the edge of the bed. Don't do that just now. I want to be there to support you in case you fall off.
Okay.
I'm gonna have him scoot until he hits me. Not hits me, but so that I'm supporting him. I'm going to keep him from rotating his hips either too far back against me or too far forward to compensate. And in this position, I'm going to be cradling the leg. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right hand support. Alrighty, so in this position, Dave, what I'm going to do is have you scoot toward me like I was talking about in the video. Go ahead and scoot toward me. Scoot toward me, scoot toward me. There you go. And I want you to straighten up for me, okay? So back. There you go. Good. I'm going to be cradling your leg, okay? Like this. Now, for this, I don't want you to rotate forward and I don't want you to rotate back. Try to keep your hips stacked, okay? And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to have you, sorry, I cut you. You're good? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have you try to bend your knee while I'm cradling, okay? So you're going to just bend it back.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to just watch the motion, okay? I'm just going to be supporting you. Go ahead. Okay. Don't try to kill me. Sorry. Relax. There you go. So for compensatory movements, David was not fully relaxed when I was doing this. When I was cradling his arm, he was holding himself up, so I believe that he was using some more glute than he was solely hamstring.
Want to hear something amazing?
Go ahead and roll back onto the bed.
Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end
so
of the first
I
year.
would
Dollar for dollar.
definitely have him relax more if we were doing this with a patient
How amazing is that?
who couldn't.
In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted.
He can't relax
99%
anyway.
of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it
Okay,
comes to Discover,
so now we're going to do grades 1 and 0, and those again are tested in the prone position.
2020 Nielsen report.
For this one, we're just feeling for palpable contractions of the hamstring muscles. In the book, it shows that she is palpating distal hamstring.
Near the top of the screen and watch a short video.
I'm going to kind of move around and see where I feel it more, what feels more comfortable to me. Let's see if that works, but please let me know if that's not correct. Okay, so we're going to test the left one again. Oh, no. Okay, so Dave, for this one, I know that you can go full range of motion out of 3, but what I want you to do is just act like you've got some sort of injury. You're just going to try to contract, but you're not going to actually bring your leg up, okay? And I'm just going to move around here. Don't worry, I'll let you relax. You're not going to cramp up for anything. Okay? Alright, go ahead.
She beat me at pool and then she kissed me like there was nobody else in the room. As last orders were called was when she stood on the stool after dancing to Katie singing the trad tunes. I never heard Garrett Ferguson a song so sweet. I could in the bar using her feet for a beat. Oh, I could have that voice playing on repeat.
Yeah, I feel contracting there. That's okay, they work together. So it just means that you're probably engaging a little bit more. Alright, so that was knee flexion. We are moving to knee extension. And I have these set up as I would test them in the clinic so that it wouldn't be super difficult for my patient to move around. So for knee flexion, it would be more difficult to get them in prone if they're older, geriatric. So I had him start in this position just because it's more different than the others. So we're going to go ahead and do knee extension. So Dave, I'm going to have you go ahead and sit with your legs hanging off the table for me. Okay. Okay. So, Dave, we're going to be testing knee extension here, and you know what knee extension is. We're testing all these quadricep muscles, right? It says in the book that we would place a towel under his knee for comfort. On the bed, we don't really need it. He's already sinking low, as you see. So I'm going to keep it like that just because he's probably already comfortable. Are you comfortable? Okay. All right. So, let's see. I'm going to have you, to keep from compensating, I'm going to have you use either your hand. Probably be easier to use your hand since you're lower and closer to the table anyway. You can use them for support. Let's see. Get her right here. Right here. Whichever one's more comfortable. And I'm going to have you extend your knee. We'll switch off so you don't get tired on the other. This is keeping you leaning back. I don't want to see you leaning back because then you're using more force to get that okay? Oh. Actually, this is the one that we are leaning back slightly to prevent any hamstring involvement. Or if the hamstring is too tight, we don't want it to limit the movement of the quadriceps. So I do want you to lean back a little bit, just slightly, about 45 degrees maybe. Yep, right there. You can relax right now. I'm just going to read.
Okay.
But that's the position I want you to get. Okay. Right. Okay. So, I'm going to test this one so I can be on this side. It looks good right there. One of the questions that I have is if you want a little bit of a gap between the knee and the table. I don't know if that creates a little bit more leverage for them or not. Right now I'm going to have them flush with the table just for practice sake. Okay, so I want you to kick your knee out and just let me see how far you can get, okay? Hold. Perfect, relax. Okay, so I'm going to have him do it one more time so that I can actually grade it a 3. Although I'm pretty sure he's already going to get a 3. Go ahead. Good. And I don't see, you can relax. I don't see any compensatory movement here. He's leaned back enough that I think his hamstrings are probably not limiting him from extending all the way, and it looked like he was in a straight line with his leg. I'm going to go ahead and test him at a 5. I'm going to give him full resistance, max resistance. That was hard, right? Yeah? He broke a little bit, so a 4+. I'd probably give him a 4+. But it wasn't bad. All right. So we saw a 3, a 4, and a 5 in that position. If he had held against my max resistance without any break, then that I would have graded him a 5. But he did break a little bit of give. Huh? Score it again.
One more time.
Alright, so now I'm going to test him in grades 2, 0, and 1. 4, 2, again, it's in sideline. Whichever side you want to do, Dave. It doesn't matter to me. But same thing, I'm going to have you back up to me. I'm going to be cradling the leg again. But I'm going to bend your knee first and then out.
Okay.
In the sideline position. Okay. And again, same compensatory movements that we're watching for here. I know it's kind of difficult to see me from this area with my my hand placement. It's just the only place in the room that we can. You know what? Hold back on the bed. Let's try this. I didn't think about that. Okay. So. Sorry, bud. All right. So go ahead and roll back toward me like you were. Okay. And I want your hips to be stacked, but I need them to be... Go ahead and move back. Yep. All right. Good. So I'm going to have to stabilize him because he's stronger than I am. Good. If this is comfortable for you, you can keep it there. If you would rather have it... Dude, move your leg. You know what I'm doing. If that's more comfortable, you can sit there, whichever one you want. So go ahead and...
Ignorant patient. Yeah.
You're difficult is what you are. Okay, is that comfortable for you, bud?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine? Okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and cradle your leg. Oh, there it is! There's the relax. Alright. So for this one, I'm going to place my hand here for him. I'm cradling here. And David, what I want you to do is I want you to try to kick out like, okay, I know that you can do it. Again, so don't kick out super far, okay?
Okay.
All right. Go ahead. All right, relax. Now, I don't know. Go ahead and roll back onto the bed. I don't know if you saw, but he did kind of, he abducted a little bit when he came up, or when he resisted me. I'm not sure if that's because he already knew that he could do it, and that he was just trying not to push me forward, or what, but I saw a little bit of, I wouldn't call it compensatory. Anyway, okay. Now, we are going to do foot dorsiflexion with inversion. Let me go ahead and flip to that page real quick. Four. Okay. Did I test you in grades? I did not test him in a grade 0 or 1 for the last one. We're going to go ahead and go back and do that. Okay. I just need you to lay down on your back. So if the patient cannot make it through grade 3, if they can't make it through Forearm, especially with this, what we're going to do is we're going to test for palpable contraction. So in the book, they have them, again, palpating distal. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And with the quad, I believe that it's a big enough muscle group that you'll be able to see some sort of contraction as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right. So what I want you to do is go ahead and just put your knee down into the bed, okay? And obviously I felt muscle contraction. He was able to make it through 4+, so. Alright. Yep. Stay in that position. I think what I'm going to have you do is flip your feet to this end so I can videotape it better.
Okay.
Because I think I'm going to have to have you sit back. Okay.
Do I need to be flat or can I use a pillow?
You can use a pillow. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So here it says that for all grades, the patient's going to be supine. Authors recommend the supine position rather than anti-gravity position because of the mechanical advantage it affords. We talked about this in class, about them being supine versus the anti-gravity position. I'm going to test both just to see which one I like and know which one's more comfortable for him. So I'm going to start with supine. And we'll see how it goes. Alrighty, bud. So, okay. I'm just going to touch you real quick. So, look at that. So what I want you to do is you're going to pull your foot toward your face, and then you're going to rotate it in. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and test for range of motion like we've been doing. I have you go through the motion first. We're going to do that same thing for every single one, okay? So go ahead. I'm trying not to, yeah, I see you trying to contract that. Okay, looks good to me. It looks like he had, he's made it to grade 3 already. Bring it up towards the body. Sufficient range of this place can provide resistance to the medial aspect of the foot. Okay, so I'm not going to test, I'm just going to practice on this one because I haven't tested this before. Alright, so I want you to do that same motion, and I'm going to just provide a little bit of resistance. I'm not grading, I'm just practicing. Okay, go ahead, point your toes towards your face and move your foot in. Scoop your foot in. Good. So here I believe I know it's 2 hands on the foot, 2 hands on the patient at all times. Woo! Dang, bud. If I were going to grade that, that'd be a solid 5. He didn't break at all. Okay. Let me see if I need to add this. This is a strong muscle, so applying resistance to that animal force swallow can help provide enough resistance for dialysis. Okay. Oh, did it? Thank you. Okay. So I'm gonna have you do it again. I'm gonna position your hands a little bit better this time. Alright. Ready? Go ahead and move your toes up and your foot in. Good. And hold against me, okay? Sweet. Yeah, it says in the book this is a strong muscle, so don't get your head all big. Okay. Now I'm going to test him in anti-gravity. We would have tested him in this position if he hadn't been able to hold or even do. If he hadn't been able to do the motion, we would have tested either a 1 or a 0, 2, 1 or 0. He would have been in the same position. I would have been looking for palpable muscle contraction. For a 2, he would have completed only a little bit of the range of motion, but as you saw, he was able to complete the whole range of motion. So. Alright, so now I need you to sit with your feet hanging off the bed. Okay. I'm going to move this so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Okay. Alright, so dang, I don't want to block it. Do the motion for me real quick, bud. Where you're moving your toes. We're going to use this one because I'm on this side. So you're going to put your toes towards your face and in. Okay. So he completes 4 range of motion here. I'm going to go ahead and test him. Relax for me. Once you do the motion, that's all. Up and in. Good. Alright. Go ahead and relax. Now, just for this video's sake, I'm going to have to get on my knees. Because I can't raise or lower the table. It's got long legs. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get on the ground. Not proper body mechanics, and I wouldn't use this in the clinic or in a hospital setting. Just going to go ahead and do it. Okay, so go ahead and go up and in front. Good. 5, he didn't break. I'm not sure how to position my hands here. Go ahead and do it for me again. You don't have to fully contract. If this is okay, or if I should be wrapping my thumb, and if I should be putting my hand behind the heel and going down, but I don't have a whole lot of resistance to work with when I do that. So I'm going to kind of play around with that and find something until I can get something back from either you or Chris.
What's up? This is Pete from Fall Boy. I hope you enjoyed the song. And if
so
you do,
we're going to go
be
ahead
sure to give it a thumbs up.
And move on to the next MMT. Okay. So next one is inversion. It's just straight in. And it was eversion is the one where it's out. But let's see, page 287. Okay. Alright. says that we have, let's see here, for foot inversion, I wrote down, I'm going to be looking here for no toe extension for compensatory movements or flexion, because we would be engaging other muscles when we do that. And here, the arch of the foot is doing the movement, so if it's inversion, the arch is scooping in. Our book says that grading 5, 4, 3, and 2 are in, help me out, what is this? This is sitting. He's going to be sitting. Okay, he's sitting. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and test him in a 3. We're going to see if he can do that. And I'm going to do it twice, just to have him be familiar with the motion and then do it again like we've been doing. Okay? So, Dave, what I want you to do is just scoop your foot in. Try not to flex or extend your foot or your toes. Okay? So just scoop in. Wrong way. Yeah, good. Okay, go ahead and do it again. You have to think about it, right?
Give myself some like credit for it.
Okay. Alright, I don't know if you were able to see that. Sorry, but go ahead and do it again. It doesn't look to me that he is showing any compensatory movements. So I'm going to go ahead and go through with the testing. Okay. And if he hadn't completed full range of motion, he would have been in a 2. But he completes full range of motion here from what I can see. I don't know exactly what the degree of inversion is normal. Let's see if it's in the book. What?
Finally, you control the way you listen on Pandora.
Thank you.
That's right. You can play the song, album, or playlist you want when you want.
Okay,
All you
so
have to do is type what you want to hear in
for the
Press
book,
play
it says that
and
the
watch a short
patient is
video
going to
ad.
be in slight
That's it.
plantar
Get back to
flexion.
listening the way you want with premium access. Try it now.
I feel like he was already positioned in that way. That's kind of natural for the foot to be. Oh, no. I was thinking Dorsey. Or not Dorsey. No, you were in slight plantar. Yeah. Yeah, you were in slight plantar. Okay. Never mind. Scratch it. Okay. For this movement passively if needed, if sufficient active range, place stabilizing hand on posterior calf just above the malleoli. Majority of resistance is toward forefoot abduction. Up and out. Up and out. I guess I'm bringing him into slight dorsiflexion when I do this. Okay. Turn your foot. Down and, yeah. And don't let me move it. Okay. Alright, we're gonna test. I wonder if it looks better from maybe if I put it here.
Oh yeah, close up.
I love being close up. Okay. Oh, this song is terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
This one's pretty awful too. Here we
That's a
go.
good one.
Okay. We're gonna go with this. Panic at the Disco to Panic at the Disco. Okay, that was bad. Alright, so. Okay. You don't know anything. So. So David, what I want you to do is turn your foot slightly down and in like you did earlier. Yep, you're going to keep it against the oh! There you go. And now I'm going to go ahead and push down and in. How do I? Yeah?
Okay, let me relax real quick.
Were you cramping?
Yeah, a little bit. I was kind of like trying to hold.
Okay.
Ready? Do you want to figure out what position?
Well, I'm trying to, yeah. Hand placement here is a little awkward. I wonder if I should be... I'm going to be on the other side,
I was about to
okay?
say, you might want to.
Yeah. I'm more worried about the video right
You want to
Okay.
move the chair over here?
now. I don't think I can move the chair. Because I don't think it's going to fit.
Oh,
It might, but it'd be kind of...
I know.
Anyway. Alright, so go ahead and do the motion for me.
Yeah.
Remember, it's down and in. Feel better resistance that way?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
No? Okay.
Felt pretty close to the same.
Okay. I don't know if you could hear him, but I had been on the other side of his foot and I moved. I asked him if he felt any difference in my resistance and he said no. So, although I should have been on his side anyway, the side that I'm testing for safety reasons and because I'm getting better leverage that way. So that would have been test 5 through 2. So for 1 or 0, it says that we can have them either in sitting or supine. For, let's see, palpate tendon. Tendon is the tibialis posterior between the medial malleolus and the navicular bone. Okay. So, is that, well, here's our navicular, right? So, I don't know if I'm on the tendon, to be honest. So, navicular, medial malleoli, and it's supposed to be in between. That feels like bone to me. I don't think that that's it. So it says that here we would have the patient complete the activity or complete the motion and just see if we can feel any activity in the muscle. So Dave, I'm going to go ahead and have you try to turn your foot down and in, okay? And obviously I was on the tendon. Cool, I was on the tendon.
Nice.
I felt it pop up. Awesome. Go ahead and relax for me. So obviously there was palpable contraction here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Sorry, bud. Okay, so we have foot inversion with plantar flexion next, which is on the next page. So for this one, foot eversion with plantar flexion. So we have the patient sitting with ankle in a neutral position, midway between dorsal and plantar flexion. I'm going to have him turn his foot down and out. Testing for a 3, of course, before I test for anything else. Let me move.
Yeah.
All right. So you're in a relaxed position, right?
Yep.
Good. So you're going to point down. Good. Go ahead. Good. Relax. I'm going to have you do it one more time. Good. So obviously I can see palpable muscle contraction. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. Yeah, do it again for me. So I can see that he has palpable muscle contraction, that he's making it through full range. So I'm going to go ahead and have him, I'm going to test for 4 or 5, whichever one he can hold against. Oh. All right. So I feel like I would have to be on the other side of his foot for this one. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to be on that side. I think it'll be better for me mechanically to get more leverage, especially if I'm testing for a 5. Okay. Alrighty, bud. So I'm going to have you go ahead and do that motion again. Good, and out. Okay. And I'm going to hold here just above the malleoli, and I'm going to
Yeah, sorry, just stretching it.
Is it getting tired? As well. We can move to this one as well. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to have him go ahead and do the movement again. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead and do the movement. Yeah. And then I'm going to hold, and then I'm going to have him. Good. I give him a 5 again. I don't know if it's because the foot muscles are stronger because they're holding up all that body weight and they're having to work all the time, not just you. But in general, they're holding up a lot of body weight for everyone. No, I'm not calling you that. I'm sorry. Okay. You're calling me that. So that was grades. Shoot, what was that grades for? That was 5 through 2. If I wanted to test him in either a grade 4, a grade 1, or 0, I would probably keep him in this position. I think it's easier, unless we have somebody who just cannot even hold himself up. Obviously, I'm going to test him supine then. So, place fingers on the lateral leg over the upper 1/3, just below the head of the fibula. The tendon of the muscle can be felt posterior to the lateral malleolus, but behind the tendon of the fibularis brevis. So, I'm going to try to find his fibularis brevis, the tendon. It should be here on the side of the foot. That's what we're testing, right? We're testing eversion. So, for him, just because I should have done this for grades 0 and 1 when we did the last MMT, but I'm going to go ahead and have his foot on my, what's this called? My knee? Yeah, my back. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and have him here just so that it's easier for me to palpate. So this is lateral. Place index finger over the tendon as it comes forward from behind the lateral malleolus, proximal to the base of the 5th metatarsal. So I should be about right here. These miles have torn us worlds apart. What time is you? Yeah, I miss you. So do you want to So I did feel something tighten. I'm not sure if Relax. Do it again.
I think I can actually see it from where I am. I'm going to hold the computer so you can see it. All right, bud. So I want you to go ahead and do that motion again. I think that is the muscle right there. Go ahead and do it again. I think that's it right there. I think that's what we're seeing. Please correct me if I'm wrong. What?
So easy.
Okay. So now we are going to do ankle plantar flexion. This one's on page 278. By the way, after each test, I would be hand sanitizing, except the whole world has gone crazy and I have no hand sanitizer, so I'm going to go wash my hands real quick. Before we do this.
After each test.
Huh?
After each test. 7 tests.
7 tests later. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so plantar flexion is a little bit easier. I believe easier to see and easier for the patient to do or not do if they don't have the strength. So, Dave, you're going to do some heel raises for me. Okay? I'm going to hold the computer so that they can see me. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and stand up. You're going to use this if you need to as stabilizer. Okay? Alright, so yeah. Calf raises, heel raises. Okay, so for this one, patient stands on limb to be tested, knee extended, facing a wall. Patient is likely to need external support, thus fingers can be placed on the wall. No more than 1 or 2 fingers should be used. There you go. Use that pointer finger. Instructions to therapist, assess range of motion. So, of course, we're going to test for grade 3 before we do anything else. We want to see that they can make it through the range of motion. I'm going to sit with a lateral view. So what I'm going to have them do, I'm just going to have them walk out a little bit more. Patient can clear the floor by 2 inches. Ask the patient to continue lifting the heel until the patient can no longer achieve 1 inch of rise. This is when the test is terminated. Patient should not bear weight through the arms. Okay, so I know that we had talked about... Okay, cool. There's a chart in the book, I'm sure you know this already, that gives you an average repetition and age for certain age groups. So Dave's 22, right? You're 22. Okay. Whoops. So he should be able. I know that I'm ruining my validity here by saying this out loud, but I'm going to say it anyway. So he should be able to complete about 22 repetitions every 2 seconds. And for him, since he's an athlete, I would expect him to be able to keep the 2 inches off the ground as he's going every 2 seconds. And we're just going to go... for a grade 5, we want him to go to 25 heel raises without a rest in between rises. Elicits approximately 60% of the max goal maximum electromyographic activity of the plantar flexors. Don't test right now.
I'm not.
Are you kidding? Here it says that strength deficits in the plantar flexors are common, particularly with advancing age, and strength deficits will affect the heel rise portion of the gait cycle and thus reduce gait speed. Just a little side note. So, for the grade 4, it's a little confusing for me. A grade 4 is conferred when the patient completes between 2 and 24 heel rises of at least 50% of initial heel raise height at a consistent rate of 1 rise every 2 seconds using correct form. Yeah, it says that the criterion is not well defined for grade 4, and we talked about that again in class. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just have him do it. And we're gonna walk through it. All right, bud.
Okay.
So, actually, what I'm gonna, we can do it that way. That'll work. I don't know that we have a whole lot of light. So for him, you can see that he's holding. Probably doesn't need to hold one finger. There you go.
2.
It's a max of 2. David Aaron. Okay. We're going to go ahead and test his right because it's closest to us. So,
Foot curled or?
no. Just off the ground.
Okay.
You can kick it up behind you if you want. Yeah. Let's do it like that just for the video's sake. Alrighty. So, go ahead, Dave. I want you to complete the full range of motion. Don't do reps for right now. I just want to see how high you can get. Go as high as you can. Boom, and back down. All right. Okay. So you couldn't see the whole foot. I'm going to go ahead and back up a little bit, and we're going to do it again so that you can see him a little bit better. Go ahead, Dave. There you go, and he's using one finger there. So I'm going to go ahead and test him out of 5. So we're going to try to make it to 25. Again, I wouldn't tell my patient that because I don't want them to try to go to 25 and get, incorrect form or, injure themselves trying to get there because that's not the point. So, alrighty, bud. Let's see how many you can do.
Am I doing it like continuous or is there a pause between? Or?
You are going to do it continuous if you can.
Okay.
All right. And go ahead. You're going to try to get full. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's all you can do?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, he said that was all that he could complete.
Okay, I'm starting to burn.
So for him, he did the 25. From what I could see as a therapist, he started turning his foot slightly when he started getting tired. So he was using his, is it internal rotators? I think it's internal rotators. He was using his internal rotators. So I think that his plantar flexors are probably a little bit weak for him. Are you burning a little bit? Nice. Yeah, I'd probably give him a 4, probably a 4. If I'm being honest, because I saw the compensatory movements, I would test him again, but I would test him again later. Probably the next time that he came in, or give him a break if I can. But he did say that he was burning. And I don't want to test him too many times, so... but he made it through the 3, so we saw 3, 4, and 5. or what we want it to be a 5. For a grade 2, he would be in the prone position with his feet off the bed, so I'm going to go ahead and have him lay down. Dave?
You want me to be-
Lay down with your feet hanging off the bed for me. So this way. You're going to be on your stomach. Sorry, I wasn't clear about that. That was my bad. Alright. Please ignore the bowls in the corner. Okay. This bad boy. So, for a 2, we want the patient to plantar flex against manual resistance to see if he can get there, because obviously if he wasn't able to complete full range of motion, we're going to test him here and see how far he can go. All right. So David, I want you to point your toes. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and push down on you. There you go. Nice. Relax for me. All right. I'm not sure that I was in a good position, but I felt okay. I felt pretty stable. I'm going to do it again. Okay. Go ahead and point your toe again. Yeah. Looking good, bud. And then for a grade 1 or a grade 0, we would be looking for palpable contraction for a 1, and then there wouldn't be anything for a 0. So again, they're on the distal portion. I'm going to go ahead and have him try to point his toes. Go ahead, bud. Point your toes. There you go. Relax. And I felt contraction, obviously. Okay. So next one we're going to do the, we're moving to the forearm and the wrist.
Okay.
Alrighty, bud. Go ahead and hop off for me. And for this, you're going to be sitting in a chair. God, I'm glad you're tall. So, whoops, days. So, Dave, what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to have him sit in the chair for this. You want to test your right?
Yeah.
Of course you do. Okay. Hold on, I got to adjust. Because that's what we do as therapists, right?
They're acting for adversity.
Let's see. Yeah, this would be the best way to do it.
I was gonna say, if you need to, we can clear this off. I don't know where you're trying to.
I'm going to have him go ahead and do this. I know this is in the way. He's a big guy, though, so it shouldn't be an issue. We're going to go here. Okay. We're testing forearm supination and pronation first, and then we'll do the wrist. Let me go grab the... Oh, I'm sorry, baby girl.
She's so I'm glad she's taking a liking to that bed.
Me too. Now we can put her cage back together, like a normal person. Okay, so we're going to page 161.
It's the music to help you get like that clinic vibe.
I just like having music on. Actually, I'm going to have him sit. I'm sorry, that's for wrist. But now we're set up for wrist. Hop up on the bed for me. Don't look at me like that. Okay. So for forearm, for the supination, I really liked when we were discussing in class that we could do the handshake motion and supinate them from there. I am worried about compensatory movements. I know we didn't say there were any, no obvious ones at least, but for this one, so I would have him in pronation, right, with his arm here and stabilized. Now, I think So I think for him, I would want to put my arm here. Obviously, we're not going to do that for a 3. A 3, I'm just seeing if he can supinate. So, yep, you done got it. Just turn your palm up. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the handshake one. Hold on, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're having him. I guess I was confused when we were talking in class because I thought that, I guess here. So I'm going to try to flip your hand over, palm up. Don't let me do it. Ready? And you can see that he's. See, I feel like abduction. So the like the brachioradialis would be involved. Would be involved here if he tries to adduct a little bit and get a little bit more leverage. So for him especially, I'm going to try to keep his elbow at his side. Try to keep him there. But I thought that if we were doing it this way, going into supination, that's how we would be testing supination. The book is saying that we're going from here to here. So I'm a little confused about that. I'm going to go ahead and do it the way the book says and then talk through it later. Yeah, so we're going to begin. Oh, no. It does say begin in. I must have read something different. I'm so sorry. Okay, so patient begins in pronation, which we're in, and supinates the forearm until the palm is facing the ceiling, and then the therapist resists the motion in the direction of pronation. So, go ahead and try to supinate. Woo! He got me. Okay. That was definitely a 5 if you couldn't tell. My thumb started turning red. So, there's that. So that was a grade 3, 4, and 5. For grade 2, 3, for 2, he obviously went ahead and made it through that. Fixing the previous test, support the forearm just distal to the elbow. So I would be holding him here. Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
I would be holding him here for position 1 and 0. And then I would be seeing, I'm not going to resist him. What I want you to do is I want you to try to turn your palm up, okay? Okay, act like you're hurt. Go ahead. Oh, it's so hard. Oh, no. Oh, there is a little bit of palpable contraction there.
Oh, my gosh.
No, so the palpable contraction would be felt on the forearm just distal to the elbow. So support the forearm just distal to the elbow. Palpate the supinator distal to the head of the radius on the dorsal aspect of the forearm, because that's what we're testing, right? Whoa. He's the smart one.
I didn't know if y'all could see it or not. You want to hold your computer?
Okay, so we would be testing the supinator. So if we're looking at the supinator will be here on this portion of the elbow, and it supinates, right? Okay, so I would be holding, and I'm going to this book has the patient, or has the therapist facing the patient's back and holding. I feel like that would be a better position, but I also don't mind this one, and I feel like being in front of your patient is more I feel like that's, more personable, especially if you're just meeting them or if you're just testing them. Okay. So. All right. So go ahead and try to turn your hand over. Yep. All right. In a grade 0, no discernible palpable contractile activity. Another way that you can do this is having the arm up here. I'm holding it, right? And what I want him to do is try to turn it out. So I would still be trying to feel for that supinator. So go ahead and try to turn. And I can feel something here. And I feel like the book doesn't have an arm holding the patient here. I feel like that's a mistake, especially if you're testing for a 1. Because if they're not strong enough to hold themselves up, they're going to be using, or hold their arm up by themselves, they're going to be using other muscles to try to do that. So I'm supporting him here for a reason. All right, do it one more time. Yep, okay. Right, we're going to do pronation now. So, has the patient sitting on the side of the bed again, or the table, whichever one. So we're going to have the patient, David in this case, turn down now in pronation instead of supination. So it's the same thing, but we're going opposite side. Okay, so actually, let's test 3. So I'm going to go ahead and have you turn your palm over. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to do the handshake one again because I really like that. Nice to meet you, sir. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to turn your hand over. Don't let me resist you, okay? Oh, yeah. Okay, well then.
Pronation.
Oh. I should mention that he pitches and that we're testing his pitching arm. So, you know. So he completed 3. He completed a 4 and a 5. Obviously, that was a 5. I was nothing to him. For a 2, he would have still been in the same position. He would have been able to complete partial range. And for a 0 or a 1, I'm going to, again, support his arm. Come here. We're almost done. All right. And again, they have the therapist behind the patient. For this one, I feel like that would be better. Okay. So from here, I want you to turn your hand over, okay? Go ahead. I don't feel like I'm in the right spot. All right. So I want you to go ahead and try that again for me. Okay, go ahead. I think I felt it there. Go ahead. I think that's it. Okay, so those are the positions that we would test them in for a 1 or a 0, I see here. It's adorable. Okay, so the last 2 we have are wrist flexion and wrist extension. So I'm going to go to 170. Yeah, go ahead and sit in that chair.
Yes.
Okay. My patient is excited that this is almost done. It's been a great sport.
Imagine like that on the video.
Oh, it would be terrible. It would be awful. Imagine. Oh, if only it were a joke. I'm going to try to... Can you hold that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're gonna shake. That's not gonna work. We're gonna do with what we have right now. So I'm not gonna be able to show you the other side, but we're gonna get close. Okay, so for wrist flexion and extension,
You can bring that thing over here. Can we just move your TV foot and bring it over
this should be okay. We've got an up close view.
Okay.
Wrist flexion. So for this one, it's pretty self-explanatory. For grades 5, 4, 3, or let's see, for 3, we want the patient to flex the wrist to the full range without resistance and without radial or ulnar deviation. Sorry. So for flexion, Bud, what I'm going to have you do, I'm just going to have you supinate. I know this is kind of awkward.
It's all good.
It's kind of tall. Okay. So I just want him to go ahead and flex. You do have a little bit of ulnar deviation here. Mm-hmm. So I want you to just try to go
straight up? Okay.
Straight up.
Gotcha.
It's a little bit more difficult, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I don't know if you can see from this position, but he was in a little bit of ulnar deviation when we started out. So I had him go ahead and put himself a little bit straighter. I'm going to open these again. Okay, so I could see that he, this was for both wrist flexors. I'm not going to break it down into the separate muscles just because, as we were discussing in class, we're just going to do all of the wrist flexors. So now I'm going to apply resistance to the palm of the test hand with 4 fingers, or the hypothenar imminent. Let me see. Go ahead and flex for me. Yeah, I feel like I have better resistance here. He is using his fingers more, though, to get me. Go ahead.
Better?
That's better, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to actually test him now, okay? So, there we go. So, sir, I want you to go ahead and flex your wrist. Try to keep it as straight as possible. Okay, relax. I'm going to have you do it again. Okay, relax. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and test him. I'm going to try to hold him at a 5, okay? You ready?
Yep.
Don't let me push you down. Good, relax. And I don't know if it's better to hold him here, if that's giving him too much support, or if I, this was just for video's sake on this side, me being on this side of the arm. Go ahead and do it again. So I could also do it this way. Relax. But I feel like I'm resisting his fingers a little bit more this way instead of... Huh?
You're getting my index finger.
Yeah.
My index finger's kind of trying to push against you.
Okay. Try it again. Now, don't move. This is the way that he's positioned. So we're obviously compensating in some areas. In the clinic, I would have him sitting up straight, feet flat on the floor, and I would be able to move the bed up and down. I know that this is a tall bed, so he's compensating a little bit for the height of the bed, too. Okay. So we did a 3, we did a 4, and we did a 5. It's a good thing we're getting to the last part because I think I'm losing him. For 2, I'd be supporting the patient's forearm at the proximal wrist, Patient flexes wrist with the ulnar surface gliding across or not touching the table. Bend your wrist, keep your fingers relaxed. And that's something that I saw with him, was that he wasn't keeping his fingers relaxed. Sorry. You good? Okay. He was able to complete full range of motion, so he was obviously not a 2. For position of the patient for grade 1 and 0, it says supinated forearm supported on the table. I'm going to support the wrist. The index finger on the other side of the hand is used to palpate the appropriate tendons. So if we're doing flexicarpi-radialis, it would be here, right? Yep. Okay, so I'm on, let's see, that is palmaris longus. So, or no, that's palmaris longus. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit farther over. And I have right here. So on him, we would be right here. All right, go ahead and flex. Yep, and I can feel it. So for you, keeping your fingers relaxed is going to be the biggest thing, because you really want to come up, right? He wants to be here. Oh my gosh, your hand looks huge. Okay. So, support the wrist in flexion. Index finger on the other side is used to palpate the appropriate tendons. Palpate the tendons of the flexor carpi radialis and the flexor carpi ulnaris in separate tests, obviously. Flexor carpi radialis lies on the lateral palmar aspect of the wrist. Lateral, good to the palmaris longus. The tendon of the flexor carpi ulnaris lies on the medial palmar aspect of the wrist at the base of the fifth metacarpal, which is on this side. Sorry, I know this is awkward.
No.
So we've got radialis over here and ulnaris over here. Okay, and then the patient would attempt to flex the wrist. One or both tendons may exhibit visible or palpable contractile activity, but the part itself doesn't move. And it's the same with every other grade 1 and grade 0 that we've done. He's going to have palpable contractile activity, which is why I tested him at a 5, or in a 5 position. So the last one we have is wrist extension. We're going to have him still sitting here. Forearm is fully pronated, supported on the table. I'm going to sit in front of him, in front of the patient. So I want him to extend his wrist without ulnar or radial deviation. Perfect. Looks good. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So, to test all 3 muscles, the patient extends the wrist without deviation. Resistance is given with 4 fingers or hypothenar eminence in a forward and downward direction over the 2nd to 5th metacarpals for grades 4 to 5. So I'm going to go ahead and test the 4 to 5. He already completed the full range of motion. All right, go ahead. Yep. Good, relax. I'm going to have him do another 3. Go ahead. So I can actually see his extensors popping out here. I can actually trace a line where they are on him. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead. I like to use the pinky. I feel like I have more force that way. And obviously my position is going to change depending on the patient. For him, he is a pitcher, so I want to see how well his extensors really can resist me. So I'm going to try to test him at a 5. All right, go ahead and extend for me. And I would pull here. Oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Okay, so he was definitely a 5. I'm not sure that I liked my hand positioning on it. Go ahead and do it again. I'm gonna, oh, sorry, bud. Thanks. He's not the only one that's going crazy. Okay.
What if we told you there's now a way to get rid of the ads when you listen to music? It's called listening.
He's
He's
pretty locked in there. So he completed full range of motion. I would grade that a 5, a hard 5. It says for grade 2, I'm going to be supporting his wrist. This elevates the hand from the table, removes friction. I'm going to ask the patient to extend the wrist. So bend your hand back as far as you can go. All right, so go ahead and bend your wrist. Yep. Obviously, he makes it through 3. Go ahead and relax. And it says here, just as a side note, that the grade 2, and we know that grade 2 has 2 different definitions. This one says completes full range with gravity minimized. So what I could do is I could flip his hand over here, and I would have him extend. If he could complete this full range, that would be a solid 2. Okay. Right, for grades 1 and 0, I'm going to have the hand and forearm supported on the table with the arm a little pronated. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to support his wrist in extension. So I'm going to support it here on this side, right? Here. So I'm going to support him a little bit here, and I would be holding here on the, or I would be holding here on the ulnar side, and I would be holding here on the radial side. And what I'm looking for is to see that there's any palpable contractility of the extensors while I do this. And I can feel all the tendons here for him. I can actually see them move right here. All right, so David, what I want you to do is go ahead and extend your wrist for me as much as you can. Good, and I could feel those tendons contract. Relax. Go ahead and do it again. Yep, this one is actually pushing me out, so it's your, I think it's going to the second finger, so I think that might be profundus. Go ahead. Go ahead and do it again. Maybe not profundus. Relax. It's a little bit difficult for me to discern which tendon this, or which muscle this tendon attaches to on this side. I thought that we had profundus here inserting at the, well, maybe it is the third. I will have to look that up. I'm so sorry. For each of those, though, if there was no discernible palpable contractile activity, that would be considered a grade 0. Obviously, he didn't have a grade 0 for anything today. Yeah, so that is going to complete my MMT video. I know it was really long. I apologize. But thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.
And I will see you in class tomorrow.